Hey everybody, this is Mike Mitchell with Progressive Church Media, and in this tutorial I want to talk about Switcher Studio, which is another application that some churches might want to consider to do live video streaming of your worship service or other ministry activities. Now, before I take you in and show you Switcher Studio, I want to go over quickly how it is structured because it's important to understand that as part of deciding whether or not Switcher Studio might be the right thing for you. So let me take a detour, talk a little bit about technically how it works, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how it works. So before I take you in and show you Switcher Studio, again, I want to talk very quickly about how it is different than other streaming solutions such as Livestream Studio or OBS. There are several of them that are on the market. I'm not really partial or affiliated with any of them. I'm just really trying to show you what's out there so that you can figure out what makes sense for you and your ministry. The big difference between Switcher Studio and many of the others on the market is this. With something like Livestream Studio, for example, you have one computer that you have set up to be, kind of your mixing streaming station, and then you can pull in video sources, recordings from other places, and especially in this time of social distancing, people can be spread out everywhere. So you could have a person, in their home on one camera, a person in another home on their camera, and then you somewhere else pulling it all in and making it all work together. Switcher Studio, in comparison, is really designed to be where all of the devices that you're using are on the same Wi-Fi network. It really is designed primarily to be used on iPads and iPhones. There is an option where you can bring in a screencast from a computer, and that can be either a Mac or a Windows computer. But as what I'm trying to show you here, all of those devices need to be on the same Wi-Fi network. And I think this will make more sense when you actually see the software. There is an option within Switcher Studio to bring in guests who are not on your Wi-Fi network. In comparison to other solutions like Livestream Studio, it's more limited in that capacity. But on the other hand, as I think you'll see, the user interface and the application itself, Switcher Studio is, I think, much easier overall to use. So again, you'll have to look at them and decide what makes sense for you. But if you're a church that maybe has more limited technical resources, this is, I think, a viable option. Okay. So now that you kind of have an understanding of Switcher Studio, let me actually show it to you. I am on an iPad and am recording this, and I've been playing around with Switcher Studio a little bit, so I'm just going to tap on the icon to launch it. So whenever you first launch the app, whether you do that on an iPad or on an iPhone, it's going to ask you in what mode do you want to use. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to use my iPad as the control center, as the switcher. And then one of the things I'll do here in just a little bit is I will use an iPhone as a remote camera. And if you think back to the diagram I showed you, hopefully that'll make sense how you can use more than one device. So I'm going to tap on Use as Switcher, and that's going to bring me into Switcher Studio. Now let me turn my camera around there so you can see me and not the teddy bear. And so here's kind of the basics of how it's set up. Now, one of the things you can do, and you can see down here in the corner, you can decide, where you want to actually broadcast your live stream to. When you download the app and install it on your device, when you're in the trial mode, one of the things it lets you do, in fact you see it right here, is it will let you test doing streaming to a private stream on Facebook that only you can see. So it's a really good way for you to practice, and you kind of decide, you know, whether you've got everything set up the way you want it to. And then when you actually, if you actually have a subscription to the software, then the other options like YouTube and all that become enabled. And so literally you just tap on any of those and you know, sign into your YouTube account, your Facebook account, etc., and then you are good to go. So the first thing I want to show you, however, is how you can add in very quickly another source. And so I just tap down there at the bottom on the little camera icon. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use my my iPhone here, and if I can picture, I'm still trying to figure out exactly where to look. But I'm going to use this as a remote camera. Now again, this iPhone is on the same Wi-Fi network as my iPad, and so you'll see it'll come in here really quickly. So let me just get on my my iPhone here. I'm just launching the Switcher Studio app on my iPhone. The difference here is because I am using my iPad as the Switcher Studio, I'm going to select remote camera mode on my iPhone. So let me do that. And what you should notice, if you look down here where it says sources on your Wi-Fi network, my iPhone now is showing up on the screen. So let me tap on that. And it'll take it just a second. It's asking me on my iPhone if I want to allow the synchronization, so I want to say yes. And now we are going to see. Now, what I would really like to do is maybe turn it around so that my camera is facing me. Let me see if I can switch that. There we go. So maybe I better turn my phone the right way. So now you can see the way I've got this set up is you can see I've got my preview over here, and then I've got my what's actually live is right here. Okay? So you can see on the screen here blue, what's outlined in blue, that is your preview, and then what's outlined kind of in the orange color, that's actually what is live. So the really cool thing is if I want to switch and have what's on my iPhone be the live, all I have to do on my iPad is I'm just going to double tap on the blue preview on what the feed that's coming from my iPhone. So let me do that. And now you'll see it magically switch. And so now the feed that would be going out to the world is this feed that you see coming off of my iPhone. And you can't see it, but on my iPhone, on the screen I'm looking at, it actually says active up in the corner. And that way, whoever is using this device knows that they are the active one. So, you know, I don't want to do anything inappropriate while I'm actually being broadcast to the world. Now, I can easily switch back. And again, the way you do that is I'll just double tap. So I'm now going to double tap on my iPad source. Now, one of the things that I can do to go back and forth is you can add transitions, and I've talked about this before. You may want to be kind of careful about how much of this you use. I think if you do this too much, it can kind of get cheesy. But I'm going to tap down here, and you'll see there are some transitions that are built in. The default is just what's called a cut, which means it just goes right from one to the other. There's no kind of any special fade or transition. Just to show you what these look like, I'm going to choose the one that says cross dissolve. And now I'm going to just try, hopefully much more elegantly this time, try to switch sources. There we go. And did you see it kind of did that cross dissolve? And so now I am going to switch it back again. And then there we go. Just so you can see kind of the differences, I just switched it so the transition now will be a wipe. And so I'm going to transition to my iPhone. There we go. And then again, I could transition back. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and exit off of my iPhone, but I think you get the idea. You could have multiple iPhones that you could bring in. So you could have essentially multiple cameras going here. Let me go ahead and just get rid of that. And there we go. So that's one option. The other thing that you can do, let me go back to my camera mode down there at the bottom, is you can also screencast from a computer, and this can be either a Mac computer or a Windows computer. Again, the key is it has to be on the same Wi-Fi network that your iPad, whatever is running the Switcher software here, it's got to be on that same network. But as long as it is, then you can broadcast. So if, for example, you're using one of our handy dandy PowerPoint templates, then you can bring those in. Let me show you how to do this. So what you have to do in order to make this work, if you have Switcher Studio, they give you access to download a special piece of software. You just download that from your account page that you get access to and install it. You click on it and it automatically starts running. I've got my computer right here. You can't see it, but it's right here beside me. I've already got that software running. And so now if you'll notice down here in the sources on your Wi-Fi network, it says display one on iMac. That's where I've got that. So let me select that. It's going to bring that in. Let me tap on that so that now becomes my preview. And you can see, let me show you. Here is that software, and again, literally all you have to do is just launch it, and it does everything magically for you. So I'm going to just put that out of the way. Here is my my PowerPoint that I'm going to run, but the cool thing about this is literally anything that's on your computer you could then run. So if you've got a video you want to show, this will be a way to do it. If you want to show a web page, this will be a way to do it. But I'm just, like I would do if I was doing any other kind of PowerPoint presentation, I'm just going to go into presentation mode. And there it is. And so again, what I want to do is I want to switch so that my slide is what is going live. There we go. And again, I'm just going to kind of toggle through some of the slides. So, you know, this, so you could have, you know, the lyrics to whatever song you're singing, you know, your scripture verses, any kind of the Lord's Prayer, any of that kind of stuff. I'm just going through. This is, you know, you could have this up at the beginning to welcome people. This is one of our this is called Festive Spring. It's one of our newer resources for spring, but you might be able to use it for Mother's Day, for example. It's very kind of flowery, and I think moms would like it. I think my mom would have liked this one. So anyway, that's how easy it is to do. You can bring in, you know, a PowerPoint, and you can toggle back and forth. So if, for example, if I am the pastor and I'm doing a sermon and I'm making my sage wise points, but maybe every once in a while I want to refer to something on a PowerPoint slide, maybe a graphic or whatever, you know, I can toggle back and forth. There we go. Now, the other thing you'll notice down here that you've got the ability to do is you can add in some graphics. So this, for example, if I tap on this, it's going to put it up on the screen. So you can do graphic overlays. It is going to automatically, when you tap on it, it's going to automatically go onto the live stream, and then if I tap it again, it goes away. Those have to be transparent PNG files. Different graphic software like Photoshop and others, you can create a PNG. That's just a type of file, a graphics file, and then you just have a transparent background. So if you do those, you can bring them in. The other thing, though, that you can do is there is a library of some lower thirds and other types of graphics that you can put on the screen. And the way you do that is you see the blue plus sign. I just tap on that, and you can see these are the types of things that you can bring in. So I can bring in a photo. If you have a pre-recorded video, maybe you pre-recorded your choir performing something and you've got that on video, you can bring that in. If you want to have a logo that maybe sits over in the corner of the screen, kind of like CNN and those types of things do, you can see. And the way you bring these in is, you just tap on the one you want, and so I'm just going to select text and graphics. You can see I have different types. So if you want to put a lower third on the screen, I just tapped on that. You can see there is a little library of ones that you can do. I just selected that one, and I come down here and I can change what that says. And now if I tap that, boom, very official. We're in Brooklyn. Brooklyn's in the house. So that's the way that works. And again, you can also, in addition to using kind of these pre-prepared libraries, if you have graphics, again, maybe something you've gotten from Progressive Church Media, you can bring that in and use it. Maybe you have an image that you would like to use as a lower third, then I'm gonna tap on that very bottom one there where it says images lower third, and you can see I have choices. If I have that graphic already on my photo library on my iPad, I can grab it from there. Or the other thing you can do is you can connect Switcher Studio to something like Google Drive. And so if you do that, where you're going to go is where it says Files USB Drive, which is kind of a little misleading, but that's where it's going to go. And then you'll see any of the locations that you've got set up on your device are going to show up there. I've got Google Drive connected, so I could scroll down here and I could find the graphic that I want. I can bring it in. I just click on it to say done, and then if I tap on it, it comes up on the screen. Now I would need to add some text and things. That's one of the things that's kind of different between Switcher Studio and other software like Livestream Studio, is that you're going to have to kind of pre-make any of this stuff if you're going to bring something in custom. The other thing, at least for now, it does not appear that Switcher Studio supports animated lower thirds. We provide and create animated lower thirds that would have some animation. This one has a really cool animation where those flowers pop up. In the current version of Switcher Studio, as near as I can find, it does not support those. There are, however, some cool other features in here. You can, I'm just kind of scrolling down at the bottom here. Let me tap to take that lower third off. If you are doing some things with Facebook polling, you can actually put those polls up on the screen. You've got to have that all prepared. You also, if you want, can have Facebook comments popping up, which, especially if you are going live, is a cool thing to do. Now, one of the things you may want to do is you you may have people who you want to bring in and use within Switcher Studio who, especially in this time of social distancing, are physically not in the same building, they're not in the same room, and they're definitely not on the same Wi-Fi network. The way you do that is you do use this video chat feature. Your amount of ability to use this feature depends on which subscription. Different subscriptions give you different amounts of time where you can essentially bring in a guest. The way this works, I just clicked on join the room. I would invite a chat guest. And so I can just, send a text message with a link or however I want to get that to that person. They would, on their device, click on that link, and then it would bring them in. The key here is then likely you're going to want to toggle this on, show guest as a source, so they're going to show up as one of your sources over here so that you can actually bring them in and make them part of your live stream. It's one of the ways that Switcher Studio is different than other broadcasting applications, but it does have that feature to a limited capacity. I'm going to go ahead and leave the chat room to do that. But that's kind of an overview of how Switcher Studio works. When you've got everything ready to go, what you want to do is click on that red button up there at the top. And if you click on that, that's actually what makes you go live. And it's gonna stream it live, and then it's also gonna record it. And then after you're done, it's gonna save that recording on your device so that you can then take that recording if you want to publish that in other locations. I think, again, kind of the pro of something like Switcher Studio is it's a little bit simpler. The interface is fairly simple to use. So if you're a church that maybe doesn't have, lots of technical resources, this is a way to still do a fairly elegant streaming option. The downside, I would say, is that you really need to have all of the devices on the same Wi-Fi network. In this time of social distancing, that may not be feasible. Once, thank goodness, we get through this and we're kind of back to life as normal, where maybe you are doing things where everybody can be in the same room, then I think that becomes a lot more feasible to do. So again, I'm just trying to show options to you so that you can figure out what's going to work best for you. And just to put in one more plug, the cool thing is that our stuff, I'm pointing in the right way, there we go. Our stuff works whether you're using Livestream Studio, Switcher Studio, OBS, or any of the others that are out there. I hope these tutorials are helpful to you, and just as importantly, I hope you're staying safe and you're being well. Take care.